Hi everybody, it's me, Ashley Brooke. For those of you who don't know, I'm autistic and I am 38 years old. I was nonverbal till I was 7, and I had went nonverbal again from the ages 10 to 11. There's a woman on here who asked me, I believe it's a woman, this video is made for you. Shy.dehart. So this person had asked me what helped me start talking. And before I tell you what I believe helped me, I would like to share with you what it felt like, and what I remember when I was nonverbal. So when I was nonverbal, I didn't know fully at the time. Like, I didn't have the thought, like, I can't speak. For me, it felt like I didn't know how to express the words right. I didn't know how to express myself right. Like, I felt emotions, but I didn't know how to express what they were, or I couldn't. Not that I couldn't. No, I could understand the expectations. What people asked me to do and what they wanted me to do. I just didn't feel very confident. Like, have you ever met someone and you ask them if they speak Spanish, and then they'll tell you, well, I understand a little bit, but I don't speak it. I don't feel confident enough in the language. And I think that's kind of how it felt for me, in a way. And what it felt like is that, like, when somebody would ask me something, if they just told me to do something, it would take me a second, but I pretty much understood exactly what they wanted me to do. I remember it being even the age of 5, and I was washing dishes because my mom was wheelchair bound, and my mom needed a lot of support herself physically. So out of the love for my mom, I would do things for her, and she would direct me and tell me even to I would even make dinners, before I was able to speak for my family. And she would tell me, bring me this item, and I would bring the chopping board to the bed, and I would bring the items that she asked me to bring, and I would help her prep the food from the bed, and then she would tell me to go turn the stove on low, and I would follow out instructions how she asked me to do them. So that wasn't the problem for me. I feel like when it came to, if you told me to go do something, I was like, okay, I did that for you, and you asked me to do it, and usually when you're doing a favor for somebody, it's like, you feel the appreciation or whatnot. So I think that's what gave me the incentive to do things for other people. And when people would ask me questions where I had to respond with how I chose to interpret it, when my opinion was required to fulfill the expectation of another, that's where it kind of got, I would kind of stay stuck longer in first, I would dissect in my head what was being asked, the items that I would need, to fulfill the task that was being asked. And then there was always a pressure, am I doing it correctly? Did I get it right? And for me to understand, especially if the things were complex issues or complex situations where emotions were involved, it became even much more confusing. And I remember it felt like, and I remember this one moment where one of my mom's friends had asked me a question, and at this time I had just started saying a couple of words. I was about 7 years old. I was barely trying to say stuff, and she asked me a question, and like before, now it may have seemed longer to her than it did for me, because I always felt rushed. I always felt like I didn't have enough time to, meet the expectation or to understand fully. And because I felt rushed, I felt like I was unsure of my participation in things. And I think that's why we meet a lot of autistics. And I remember being young and I was smiling a lot, but I was very unsure of what was happening. And I think that was just my way of blending, It was my way of just like getting by that social situation that I didn't fully understand. And I wonder that today, if that's, I have a memory of all these feelings and all these behaviors that I remember, and I've even talked recently to my father about that. He's confirmed that yes, that is how it was. So I sometimes wonder, were those just behaviors of Ashley? Behaviors or results? Is that my autism, or is it all connected? Autism is a big part of me, and the experiences that I have experienced in life is also a big part of me. So I would say that it's sort of just, a unit. So I definitely think though that a child with autism that's smiling and laughing a lot, giggling, is definitely has love, because otherwise you would see fear in their face. The smiling and the laughing, even though we may not understand fully what's expected of us at that time, I think it's a good indicator that you're in the right direction, because you at least know that that child feels safe enough that they will be able to coast through that situation because they know that they are loved. And if you want to really efficiently support your child that's nonverbal, love is so important, and that the child feels supported and accepted no matter what. However, it will take much more than just that if you really want your child to have the best opportunity and the best chances in having a happy life eventually. For me, it felt like, I didn't know this at the time, but there was a term called auditorial processing delay disorder. I don't know if many of you guys have experiences with your children with autism, or if you're an autistic adult, but sometimes I need more sensory stimulated for me to pick up and process information sometimes. And then there's sometimes where too much, like a certain sensory stimulation will shut down my processing completely, and I won't even be able to process thought. So I remember it being, as a child, just to get back to the topic, it felt like people confuse the communication so much. People don't understand that autistic people are very literal. We're very literal, and so what that means is that if you, for example, my oldest sister used to always say, and one of my brothers used to always say, quit playing. And it was very confusing. I was like, I knew that playing was a good word, and it meant fun, and it was a positive word for children, play. And then they would say, quit playing. And it made me feel that playing in general, like your normal, typical child playing, is a bad thing. It discouraged me from participating with them in things. It made me think that I can't be, I have to be serious, and I have to just, it made me feel pressured about meeting their expectations because they said those things. Another thing my mom used to say, she used to say, and this was a positive thing that she was saying, I don't understand. I barely realized when I passed away, and I was remembering things that she used to say in 2020, and it was like a light bulb hit, and I was like, what the heck? She meant, I was like, okay, so she used to say, when there's a will, there's a way. And I'm talking up until my older years, I thought she meant when there's a will, there's a way, like when there's a wheel of a tire, like when there's transportation to get from A to B, that, you can make it happen and you can get it, get moving. I thought that's what she meant. But she was meaning when you have the will to do something, like the desire, then you'll find the way. Hi, Mama. My daughter.
Hello.
I was like, whoa, how did I not realize that after this long, and after even understanding my autism, I didn't pick up on it until I was like thinking about it, and unfortunately it took for her to pass away for me to think so heavily on the things that she used to say. And when she passed away, I also thought heavily about my relationship with my mother, and it made me realize, did she accept my autism?